back everybody to macro_action. And today we've got, ta-da, the 50 to 200mm f2.8 IS Pro, and I'm going to put it on this OM1 Mark II, and I want to see, this is just an unboxing today to be honest, I want to see if it can replace this 90mm macro for what I do, and that's going to be over the following months. And also, can this now, including teleconverters, I've only got the 1.4 at the moment, can this now replace this lens and any other birding lenses I was thinking about getting as just one wildlife lens for the OM system, and I need nothing else for holidays, for whatever? What do you guys think? So first of all, I picked this up from Park Cameras in London. I love those guys over there, you know that. They give a very friendly service over there, and no, they're not paying me for this. They don't even know I'm plugging them here. But I do love their service, and they're very friendly guys, very knowledgeable about photography. So thanks Park Cameras for my pre-order. I've genuinely not opened this yet. What we got? We got a book. Ooh. 6 months warranty. You can see that? Put it over there. The same usual bag that you get. It's quite a nice feeling bag actually, but I'm not opening it because I never use them. I might as well leave that pristine. So that can go with the packaging. Booklet, Mzuiko Digital, ED 50 to 200 f2.8 IS Pro from OM. Warranty card, yeah. I don't do anything with any of this stuff, guys. I just throw it back in the box. Don't look at any instructions. Bit of packaging there to keep it nice and safe. And droppages, kind of like that. I don't know which way what was dropping then. And in the bottom here we have the hood, and then just a bit more packaging in the bottom, but nothing to write home about. So I'm going to put all of this back in here, never to see the light of day again until, well, not until the lens goes, because I want this to be my last ever lens, the only ever lens I ever have on this system. I do still have my Nikon Z9, which I'm filming on today, and I'd still have the 105mm macro, which I'm never getting rid of. Just drop some of the packaging, which I'm never getting rid of. Both of the lens and the camera staying with me. Sold my Z8, it's gone towards this. First impressions without even holding onto the lens, because in one of my last videos, I don't know if you know, I had the, let me take this off, this is very crinkly. Let's take this off as well, so we don't have the same problem. It's not so crinkly, but yeah, for anybody that hasn't watched it, ooh, that feels nice. For anybody that hasn't watched it, I had the Panasonic Leica 200 Elmarit, and really it's a prime lens, so if this can keep up with it at the long end at 200 with no teleconverter, well, I won't be happy, because that was only costing me £900. This is 3,000 UK. I think it's 3,500-ish US. First impressions, that's why I said it already. Oh, love this texture. Love this texture. It makes it, I mean, just so easy to hold. Already, this is lighter than the 200 Panasonic Leica. Not by much, to be honest. I don't think. I'm talking about real world, holding it in my hands. I don't know what the actual weights are. That Elmarit felt very chunky, and it was really like a solid piece of metal. This feels like engineered plastic, or engineered, it does feel like, feels like very solid. It doesn't feel like cheap or anything, but this doesn't feel anywhere near as heavy as that lens did. That was a shorter lens, but just you know, like a proper weight. You hit somebody with that, they're off. It's nice enough to take this off, but that feels quite cheap. It's quite big, to be honest. for the tripod collar. The tripod collar has built-in Arca Swiss, so no need to put anything else on for the tripod. Make it nice and easy. I don't use tripods. Be honest, I'm not sure if I'll be using the tripod collar. You'll see. It's not a bad one actually. It's not that heavy. Nice that you can take it right off. The hood. I've seen a lot of people going on about this. Yeah. Like it's something new. Canon's been doing that for years. It's good that they're doing it. I don't use polarizers, so I'm not bothered. And actually, to be quite honest, this used to get on my nerves on the Canon because it used to open up a lot. So we'll see if that winds me up on here. I noticed somebody on another forum that I go on. He changed the hood for an old black Canon one that he had because it's shorter and it doesn't draw as much attention. But it does look a lot nicer when you've got the, oh, that's a nice click. It's not, there's a little tiny bit of, not movement, it clicked on very solid and it comes, oh, that's superb. I'll tell you that now, that is superb. I've held many lenses in my hand, up to £14,000, and that is a nice, satisfying, solid click. Well done, OM. It's not loose. I'm not saying it's loose. Just, I don't know if you can hear it. Just a little tiny bit of movement there. Not movement, the sound. I suppose it is moving just a tiny bit, but it is really solid on it. There's no that coming off at all. Nicely here is a black release button, so you can see it really easily. Because oftentimes you get lost with that. If you put a body sock on there, I don't know what they're called, you know, wrap, whatever, that's when these get lost, as in you find them hard to find. So that you may find hard to find with something on there, but I do like that it's black on the white, very easy to just look round and find it. But I do love that. That is a solid click and really easy to put on, really easy to put on and really easy to take off. Yeah, that is satisfying. That is a satisfying hood. Like I said, not sure about this polarizer window, because once these start loosening up, they can become annoying if you don't use them, and that happens. It just, your hand goes on it and opens it up. It's not that much of a biggie, but I mean, a lot of the times I put something over the whole hood anyway, so it stops it happening. It can be annoying though. Anyway, let's get off the hood. I really like the feel of that. Oh my God, well done, OM. That is so, it's not sticky. That would be stupid to say it's sticky. The grip, you can just grip on that and it just feels, I mean, they're slightly different. This is textured this way and that way. This is just textured one way, which you get on most lenses. But that is just nice. And also, going from that Panasonic Leica, I said it was very slippery. The lens felt slippery. This, just like this, it's got so many texture points to hold on to. Just feels nice. Feels really nice. Liking this so far. We've not switched it on. We've not done anything. I'm really liking the feel of this lens. Here, can you see how blind I am, everyone? Really, I should put glasses on. I can't find them, ironically. Anyway, here we have a limiter, which is 0.78 to 3 meters, full in the middle, or 3 meters to infinity. I love that because you don't get that on many high-end lenses at all. They're more about the long end because they're for wildlife. But for me, you know what I'm into, insects in flight, close-up work. It's lovely to have something at the shortest focal distance. That's going to make my life so much easier. The same as what they've done on the 90mm, to be honest. I can already tell you, I know they're different lenses completely, but again, this is a very shiny lens. Even this is quite shiny. Big fan of this already. Already I'm a big fan of it. I haven't taken any pictures, but very nice fitting. cap. Can't tell you the importance of a cap going on nice and easy, coming off easy, because it gets really annoying when they drop off and things like that. I don't know if this will, could do I suppose, because the mechanism is also on the outside. So it could potentially fall off, but it clips in really well. It's in there. I'm not just saying this because I've just spent £3 on a lens. It actually genuinely feels nice. As I've said to you, I'll go through a list of my lenses if you want. I've had 2 of Canon's 600mm f4L lenses. I've had 2 of their 400mm f2.8 lenses, 1 of their Do 400mm. I've had the Nikon f4.5 400mm. I've had the Nikon 800mm f6.3 Z lens. I've had Sigma 500 f4s. I've had lots of high-end, large white lenses, professional lenses, whatever you want to call them. And I can tell you genuinely this feels nice. This is not just saying it. I don't work for OM. I have no affiliation, I think that's what it's called, to OM systems. They've not lent me any gear, bought with my own money. Let's have a feel around these buttons. Nice, but I tell you this, knowing from, again, my own experience, even though these, it might be easier with this because this is not a long lens, it's quite a short lens. Actually, as I'm holding it, it feels like they're in the right place, but that was one of the things with the bigger lenses. When you've got these buttons, they're way up here. They're always up here, and you're either on a tripod. Well, if you've got it in your hand, handheld, you weren't really trying to find these buttons. It was almost impossible. This, I could hold it with both hands, click on that side or click on that side. I know they all do the same thing, but I potentially could be using that all the time. It's in the right place. Again, talking about the Panasonic from before, although I said I do not want a zoom lens, because zoom lenses do get on my nerves. They get on my nerves because of the telescoping, and also a lot of the time they will gather more dust over the years. They are genuinely less weather sealed than a prime lens because they've got more moving parts. But I'm really hoping this feels so nice. That throw, it's not long, but from 200 to 50, that throw, it's okay. It's not like a quarter turn or anything. It's like I'd say a third of a turn around the lens or something like that. But for me, it makes no difference to me. I'm mostly going to use this at the long end. The only thing I'll be trying to push it to is clicking it towards the 200, just to double check that it's on 200. That's why I don't like zoom lenses. I like to know that I'm at the length that I've set. So if I'm using a prime, I can't think any other way. When you're sometimes using a zoom and you knock it down even a couple of millimeters, it can make the difference in getting the best shot possible. Anyway, so we've done the focus limiter, we've done the zoom. Let's go to the AF/MF switch. I didn't say how I felt about these switches. Yeah. Sorry, you can't see which one I'm doing. I'm doing the easy to put in the middle. Sometimes they're so either too stiff or too loose that you end up not being able to put it on the middle one unless you really take your time. That is quite easy. Yeah. And the rest of the button, they feel, again, this feels like as solid as the Canon L lens, the 100 to 400, 100 to 500. That's probably what this feels more like, actually, the 100 to 500, but a smaller version of it. Again, lenses I've had a lot of lenses, just so you guys know, yeah. And like I said, I'm trying to find the lens that I can sit with, stop having gas all the time. I could just take it anywhere, never have to worry about it. I mean, that's fitting. If this can replace, even if it doesn't replace this lens, and I carry these 2 lenses, I'm feeling this now. This is nothing. This is absolutely nothing. This is like, this could be my setup forever. I've got the 1.4 teleconverter on here, which is going to go on there. Liking it so far. Then after that AF/MF switch, we have the IS feels exactly the same as the AFMF. And then underneath that we've got L function preset with noise. So that's for these buttons. You set it with this button. Once you've set that focus point, then you can use these to zip to it. And these are probably as well customizable, which is why they're saying LN function. It's nice to have the sound on it. I always turn that sound off. I don't like any sound on any camera anymore at all. I like to have a completely silent camera. It's really nice when you're sitting somewhere, your camera's not disturbing anyone, especially the animals. I mostly do insects, so it's not going to bother me like that, but it's just nice to have no sound. It's nice to be able to switch it on when you want so that you can hear it, but it's also really nice to have no sound. Anyway, next we've got the set button. Honestly, worst button on the camera, on the lens. Feels plasticky compared to these are like rubber buttons, and they've got like a little satisfying click to them. There's no real satisfying click to that, and it's just a plastic button. But saying that, you will only set that the once, and then you'll be using these buttons. So it's not a button you're going to be using all the time. It's just to set, maybe each time you go out on in your hide or something, and you're setting your distance for your focus. That's it, and then you'll be using the other nice tactile buttons. That's what it is. It doesn't feel anywhere near as tactile. It feels kind of spongy compared to the other ones. Anyway, so let us. A lot of turns for that. Cool, blimey, there's a lot of turns for that. It's a minus point for that. Many turns, but it's something you're not going to be doing that often. You're either taking it off or you're leaving it on, one or the other. The whole thing together, do you know what? It's so nice. I can actually do things like that and not worry about it. It's such an easy lens to handle. Yeah, it feels very nice. That doesn't look like it's on properly. That's better. I was thinking, why was it so cockeyed? Yeah, that's better. So we've got that back on in a nice way. Right, make sure this is switched off. And we've got this upside down. But some people tend to carry them like that. I will not be carrying it like that. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? My finger is off the edge. That is quite a short, foot. It's nicer when the feet are longer and they step up just a little bit, so you've got a nice bit of grip. You can carry it like that. I wouldn't be carrying it like that. There's no way. I'd rather hold it like that. It's a lot easier for me to hold. Let's just move this round. There was a line-up mark round there. That's why I put it round the other way. So there must be another one on this side. Yep. Correct. Why does that look off then? That's kind of strange. You would have thought, this being dead center as you can see, that these would line up with it. But they don't. It lines up to about here. Nothing big. I just would have thought that it would have been the other way, because these buttons, for you to find them in an easy way, it should be a bit more jacked round. I can tell you now, I will probably be either taking that off or shooting with it like that, because I don't like the foot underneath already. It doesn't feel that nice. It's a shame. I wish somebody had actually held that in their hand to think, if I'm holding that, look, my thumb's here, unless it's a giant with a giant thumb that's over here, or a tiny person with their thing under there. It's not too bad, to be honest. You see? My fingers, I can do that if I just bring my hand round a bit more and be on it all the time, but you know what? That is so small. This probably looks quite giant to you guys because it's big and white, but this is tiny compared to what I've been used to using as a birding lens. This gives you 1 to 400 millimeters focal length. I'm going to do a video about do these compare to full frame, because as much as I like OM, I don't want to say they lie, because it's not lying. They're just using their brains, to be honest. They're saying the focal length is 1 to 400. It's a 50 to 200 millimeter lens, yeah? They're saying equivalent, because of the 2 times crop, that comes up as 100 to 400. So they're equivalating it to a full frame body and lens combo. If you're going to do that and call it an f2.8, it lets in the light of an f2.8. Still not even sure about that one. I'm no mathematician or anything like that. I don't understand that one, because the lens is so much smaller. I don't know if it's the amount of light that needs to fall on the sensor. I don't really understand the technical terms. But for it to be a 2.8, in my mind, it should be wider and chunkier to let more light in that end and that end. Maybe because of the size of the sensor, it only needs to have a certain amount of light on it to make it a 2.8. I can't tell you about that. But what I don't like is that if you're going to equate all that, is you must equate the depth of field as well. And I believe that they should be telling you that. If they're going to equivalate everything else, why not do the equivalent? It is the equivalent f-stop apparently, as I've just explained, but the depth of field, you're going to do that, you should be doing the depth of field as well. And I can tell you, even if you put this up against a 70 to 200 f2.8, not a 100 to 400 or whatever, the depth of field is mind-blowingly different. If you had this at 2.8, especially if you had it the minimum focus distance that this can allow, this would obliterate the background. It probably will anyway. There's no comparison full frame to crop or even micro four thirds, I should call it. Yeah, so it's not a lie. They're telling you the truth, but I just believe that if they're going to tell you the truth about that, they need to do the whole hog, and it's something they don't do. And it's not a bugbear to me about the camera or the system or micro four thirds, because I'm used to it. If I want to do something to the background, it's easy to do. I don't do it in post. I don't touch my backgrounds in post. I don't know if you lot have noticed that. I just don't touch them. I don't know, peeps. I'll get off that. I'm going to do a video on that anyway. Actually show you the difference in depth of field with full frame to micro four thirds, and even other sensor sizes if I can. That's so easy to hold. So easy to handhold. If this plus the 2 times or the 1.4 gives me equivalent of 200 to 800 or 140 to 560, yeah, I'll be happy chappy. What I haven't said about this lens so far is it has a half size macro capability without the teleconverters on. 75% once you put 1.4 on, and a 1:1 macro reproduction rate with the 2 times teleconverter. This is why I bought this lens. I haven't bought this lens just to be frivolent with money or whatever. I've sold gear to get this, to be honest. I haven't spent anything. I've sold gear to get this. But like I said, this is why I'm hoping it's going to be that all-round lens that can just do everything. It's going to be able to do my 1:1 macros. I don't really do 1:1 macro, to be honest. It's very hard to catch an insect in flight at 1:1 macro. But it will get me my close, hopefully my close details. This, as you know, is, without putting anything extra on it or anything like that, is a 1:1 macro lens. And if you click it over to the other bit, it goes to 2:1. So this could go double macro size. I don't need double macro size. I have used it this summer, I think a total of 3 times to get a real close-up of a butterfly. I even posted the picture. It wasn't flying. I don't really do shots like that, but it's nice to have. And I'm going to have to start doing it. I want to start doing real macro with flash shooting as well. So yeah, if it can replace this, that'd be a nice thing. I want to also buy macro extension tubes, so that then I've got an even better option, because then if I can do that without having the teleconverter on, then it does double up as this lens, if it's sharp enough. I don't know if it's going to be sharp enough. I've got a feeling it will be from all I've seen and heard so far. It's not a macro lens. Let's not be silly about it. It's not a macro lens, but I don't do macro anyway, so I'm hoping it can replace this. Although I love this lens, I do love it. I mean, this is what you call lightweight. Compared to the macro lenses I've got, most macro lenses are so chunky and heavy. This is very, very lightweight for a 90mm or 180mm full frame equivalent. I'm still not sure about that. Anyway, let's move on. Let me switch it on. So I'm going to give it an autofocus test, and I'm going to make sure that the autofocus manual focus is switched to autofocus. I was thinking, why is it not working? IS on. Moving a lot more than I thought. Oh no, it's taking time to kick in, the IS. I noticed this when I was using the Panasonic Leica the other day. I said that the stabilisation wasn't that great. I had to hold on to it for a couple more days because there'd been a mix-up with sending it back. But I didn't realise if you leave the IS on it and you give it a couple of seconds to lock itself in, it's just as solid on the OM body as this feels, the IS. So, and that's using the IS in the lens and in the body. It wasn't supposed to work. Again, I've looked on the forums, they said, oh, it's rubbish, that you've got to switch it off on the lens, which is what I was doing. I found that it actually worked just as well. But anyway, I'm going to focus on something near. Oh, that's quick. Even in this environment, that is extremely limited. Where's this? I'm going to put this here, right in front of me. Yes, it's focusing on it. So let's go from here to here to here to here. You can't see what I'm looking at, but it's the furthest wall that way. And actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the plug at the end. So yeah, it's very dark up the end, and I'm only using full manual on this. There's no auto ISO, so it's not stepping the ISO up. So it's that plug over there is a black plug. Like I said, that's the darkest part of this room, and it's still auto focusing from here to up that far end. And this is a longer room than it is wide. Yeah, pretty impressed with that, because that, again, I'm going to go to the Panasonic Leica 200 El Merit, whatever the hell you want to call it. It was a great lens, just the autofocus was a bit slow. Wow. I'm shocked at how quick this is. I'm just going to walk out. I'm going to step out 1 second, go into my garden. I'll be back. So it is, what is the time right now? It's 4:15, but it's very, very, not dark out there, it's gloomy out there. It wasn't as impressive as I thought it was going to be outside. It is very quick in a lot of cases. Probably the light again. Not as snappy as I thought it was going to be, but we're not actually using it, so I'm not going to say that that's what it actually shoots like, because from all accounts it's very fast. Could just be me. It's not me. It's never me. All right. If the gear's not working, it's never me. Okay, could be me. But yeah, in lower light, it's not as snappy as I thought it would be. At the long end, at the short end, very snappy. At the long end, not so snappy. What I'm gonna do, but that's low light. I will be, like I said, getting out there in the field, and I mainly shoot in good light anyway. What am I doing? Don't know what I'm doing. So let's see how good a fit this is. I mean, that's tight. Not tight as in, it's like a very, very snug fit. You can feel the IP53 weather seal rating. I don't know if you can feel it, but switch that on. Oh yeah, making bibby bib sounds. I don't know why it made that. Oh, because my hand was on there. But that was the set button with the noise. Turn that off. We don't want any bibs. See? Don't like bibs. Whoa! That was quicker with the teleconverter than it was without the teleconverter. Don't understand that one. But this is on full. I have to remember that it is on full. Very dark environment. I know there's lights that you can, well, you can't see them. I can see them. I know there's lights here, but it's not a good, well lit environment, and they're not always contrasty things that I'm shooting at as well, because that is a bit of a, especially at the angle it's at, it's not a great thing to be focusing on. I'm impressed with that though, with the 1.4 on in dark environments, in dark light. Let me get away from this a little bit. I must not have been far enough away. This is extremely snappy with the 1.4 on at 50mm. I mean, blazingly fast. Can you see it? No, you can't. You can't see it. Yeah, that is extremely fast with that 1.4 on. So once I get good light into the camera, and as long as that happens at 200, that's going to be amazing. That will be 100 to 400, 140 to 500 and that would be 140 to 560mm f4, and with the option to zoom in, zoom out. I mean, I don't do what a lot of, I hear it all the time, people saying it's good so that, you know, you can find your subject first, then you can zoom in as you're doing it. I'm going to tell you, as a person that shoots fast moving subjects with any lens, I don't care what lens it is, I can shoot with a 1600mm lens, I can find the subject. But that's because I practice. If you continually practice by starting with 50, zooming into 200, sorry, not 200, the long end, I'm going to say the long end because 200 doesn't sound long, at 560mm. If you want to find your subject quicker, practice at the longer end quicker, because then when you get something happening at distance, you can just lock on, grab it in an instant. And this would be like same as using, this is almost the same focal length as the 600mm f4. So if you can do it with this, you can do it with 600mm f4. If you're doing it at the short end, you're basically doing it at the moment 140mm, and it's not hard. I'm not saying you can't do that. I don't want to seem like oh, I'm better than you or anything like that, but that's how I learn. If you want, because a lot of people say that to me, how do you find the subject so quickly? I find the subject because I'm used to shooting at the longer end. I always shoot at the longer end. I think to myself, do I even need a zoom lens? But if this one lens can replace every lens I've got, I don't think it's ever going to replace the Nikon, sorry, 105mm. But if it can replace, for me as a walk around, holiday, professional purposes most of the time, I'll be happy with that. I will be so happy walking around with that in a bag, and that's me. Everything. Just need the 2x teleconverter. Still buy something. Stupid gas. And I've got everything there. 800mm in your pocket at 20 megapixels. I'll be happy. I'll be a happy chappy. That's just an amazing feeling bit of kit to have everything in there. And I'm not saying that again because I've just spent money out on it. I'm not one of these people. You know, I go from system to system, lens to lens. I really don't care. I'm not into stroking OM's ego. This feels like a really good lens. The truth will be, can it catch my insects in flight? I'm not really going to find that out till next summer now, am I? Or not next summer, next spring, unless we have a nice warm day in England where I can get the bees up, butterflies, anything like that. Please, 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 let me put this down and beg to you, please subscribe, please like, please comment, tell me things that I'm doing wrong. I don't mind, I can take it, I'm a big boy. Things that I'm doing right, if you like it. But I want to try and get this channel out there to help people like you. So please do all those things for me and it will come back to you. All right, turn on the notification bell as well, very important. Anyway, I will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.